Hey there, Jack here from 9to5.com, and in today's video I want to talk to you about how and why you as a side hustling entrepreneur should be hitting the publish button every single day. Let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, so before we really get into the how and why, first we need to explain the what. What do I mean when I say hit publish on something every single day? So when I first started being an online entrepreneur, I was super busy with my day job. I just had my second daughter, and now now we've had our first son. So with 3 kids at the house, time is a very precious commodity. And so I told myself in the beginning that as long as I was working on a side hustle for at least an hour every day, that was going to be enough for me. And it helped move my business slowly forward. But the problem is, every time I would get to the point where I could publish the blog post, I would say, something's not quite right. And I'd rework something. I would rework an image, or I'd rework a link or a statistic that was in my post. And I never ended up actually hitting the publish button. But because of how I set up my standard, I was working on the blog post all the time. So I was checking the box, and I felt like I was being successful because I was working on it every day. The challenge with that is I get stuck with analysis by paralysis, and I'm sure you guys do too. With our time being so precious, we don't want to put out something that's not perfect, so we ultimately never hit the publish button. So this method I'm going to talk to you about today is going to force you to get out of that habit and force you to publish imperfect content, but content that gets better every single day until you have the confidence to really go forth and put your best content out there in the world. All right, let's get into it. All right, so I got this idea from Miles Beckler from milesbeckler.com. He's an amazing guy, and he puts out great content. Recommend you check out his channel. And he recommends that for 90 days, every day, you go ahead and you publish a blog post, an audio podcast, or a video on YouTube or some other social sharing platform. And I love this idea, but there's one tweak that I need to make to it to make it more relevant to us side hustlers who have the 9-to-5 job, and especially if you have a family or other obligations outside of just your hustle that you need to attend to in the day. So what I recommend you do is, instead of publishing a blog post every day for 90 days, that just may not be sustainable. What I recommend is hit publish on something every single day. And what that could mean, it doesn't mean just hit publish on a Facebook comment to like a funny cat video or anything like that. I want you to publish relevant, real, valuable content every single day, but it doesn't always have to be in the same medium. What I mean by that is it doesn't always have to be blog post. I recommend doing what I call the multi-channel content marketing challenge. And so what that means is for 100 days, I'm going to one up it a little bit because I just like hitting that third digit. But for 100 days, I want you to publish a blog post, a podcast episode, or a YouTube video every single day. And also, I'm going to add in a fourth one here. If you have a freebie or a content upgrade that you want to add onto an existing piece of content you've already published, give yourself a day to really make that a good piece of content and put it out there in the world. But the point here is that every day you are working on publishing, not just working, but you're actually publishing a valuable piece of content that will be out there and building assets for you, whether that asset is a new subscriber, new viewers every day, or something of that nature in your business. The first one's not going to be perfect. The 14th one is not going to be perfect. The 97th one should be getting pretty close. But over time, you're going to really feel these 4 benefits of doing this strategy. The first benefit is you're just going to get practice. You're going to learn better your own voice, whether it be your voice into a microphone or your voice onto the written word on a blog post. You're going to improve your SEO because as you start to publish these pieces of content, each one is going to tell Google, hey, I'm here, I'm consistent, I'm showing up every day, and also my content is related to each other, so you're going to start to be seen as an authority in your market. The third benefit is you're going to just know yourself better. You're going to know what really turns you on, what you want to work on your blog posts. Do you care about personal finance, or do you care about internet marketing, or do you care about funny cat videos? Each one of them can be successful in their own right, but you really owe it to yourself to put yourself to the grinder of forcing yourself to come up with content every day, because as you get into it, you'll figure out what energizes you and what demotivates you, so you can better hone and funnel your energy into the passion that you most care about. And then fourth is you're going to build up the discipline, not only in your business so you can work on it every single day consistently and persistently when things aren't feeling great all the time, but also in every area of your life, having that discipline of, okay, I committed myself to doing something for 100 days, nonstop. Once you've reached the end of that 100 days, that doesn't mean that you just go sit on the couch and just reap the benefits of that previous work, you continue to put the work in, but maybe you can go down to 3 times a week. Maybe you can go down to even twice a week, but make that content amazing because you've done the practice. You've kind of built some juice already with the SEO, and you know yourself. That effort you put in on day 105, on day 150, that's going to be better focused, better honed energy than what you put in on the first 100 days. All right, so now you know why you should do this. Now the next thing we need to figure out is how exactly we should implement this multi-channel content marketing strategy. It's a mouthful, I know. So here's the thing. It's a little bit more complicated than just going in and blogging, right? So what I recommend, since you are a side hustler, there's a specific, formula or algorithm, whatever you want to call it, that I think makes it easiest. This is the way that I'm implementing my challenge because I'm currently in my own challenge as well. And this is the way that my brain works. Yours could change and just, take this as building blocks. So on day 1, I go and I write the blog post. So this is where I'm able to really kind of get that thought out in a more controlled way. If I'm just blabbing in a microphone like this, I may not think as deeply on the subject that I need to really provide that value up front. That's just not the way that my brain works. But once I've spent a day and I've written it down on a blog post, I've gone through, I've planned it out, I've got the note takes there, then I feel good about the content. It may not be perfect yet, and I might put one image in, but there's more I can add to that blog post. At the very minimum, get it out there, get a featured image on it, and hit publish in your WordPress blog or wherever else you're publishing. Day number 2 now is you can go one of 2 routes. One route is if you feel comfortable on video like this, go ahead and either do a screen share where your face is up in the bottom corner or the top corner, whatever, on your screen, and have the blog post front and center, because now you can kind of scroll through and talk through some of the key points in the blog post while adding your own flair to it. This is a great way of repurposing your content and getting it onto a platform that already has a ton of search traffic. So getting on YouTube now gets some traffic to your brand, maybe not necessarily to your blog, but you can link from the description in your YouTube video to your blog post to drive traffic there. And also you can go to your blog post on day 2 now and embed that completed YouTube video into your blog post to even further show the SEO that you have some relevance, that you're not just a one-trick pony and you have other sources that are linking to you and you linking to them. And finally, on day 3, now is when you can add that final missing piece. So if you did the video on day 2, the easiest way to do this is extract that audio file from your video and there's free apps like Anchor.fm, or if you use a podcasting service, cut a podcast episode. If you were able to just communicate the idea through your voice and not using a ton of demonstration on your screen, that content may be better served for people who prefer to consume through audio. I know for myself, I commute 30 minutes in the morning and probably 45 minutes in the afternoons, so audio content is huge for me. So make sure that whenever you're going into demonstrating an idea, figure out how much you need to show versus how much can you clearly communicate, and that way you can kind of do some double duty there. If it's something that you really need to show, you might need to kind of change around how the audio format goes, and you need to record a fresh podcast for day 3. But the benefit of doing it this way, as opposed to hitting a video every single day, is that as side hustlers, we don't have a ton of time to be able to constantly keep ahead of that schedule, that aggressive schedule of every single day. We need to give time to our jobs, our day jobs, and to our wives and to our children. So it's helpful to be able to take that one idea and kind of squeeze out value and kind of squeeze the juice out of the lemon over the course of 3 or 4 days as you're continuing to produce valuable content, but all based around the same idea. That's the first benefit. The second benefit is that now you can actually use day 2 and day 3 as you're working on an idea that's already been fleshed out through your blog post, and you can start prepping and planning for your next blog post. You may not choose to put it down on paper until that next cycle of creating new content, but at least now you're not going into it fresh where you feel the weight and the overwhelm of having to come up with an idea, design it out through kind of a note-taking process, and then writing, editing, and adding images to it. That's a lot to squeeze on one day. That blog post day is huge, and it can be overwhelming if you're going down that single channel route where all you're doing is 100 or 90 blog posts in a day. So that's kind of the way that I'm pursuing my multi-channel challenge. You can see the blog post that I'm producing over at 9to5.com, and the blog post this one is actually being repurposed from is 9to5.com/100 days. That's just the number 100 days. So go ahead and check it out. If you like this video and what I'm providing to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell next to it. That way you'll get notified whenever I'm coming online and publishing a new video. And also go to my podcast. If you search 9to5 in the Apple Podcast section, you'll find the podcast. Go ahead and subscribe there for your morning commutes. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next video.